Good afternoon, everybody. This is the Sunday edition of the San Diego Real Estate Report, and I'm Brian Katzen, your local real estate expert, helping everyday people become financially free through the intelligent use of buying and selling real estate. What I want to talk to you today is about the downtown San Diego market. That's 92101. That's the zip code. You know, regardless of what you're reading in the paper, you might be looking at the news, you might be looking at the newspaper, talking to other agents, and they're talking about how hot the market is. But is the market that hot everywhere? That might just not be the case, and that's what I want to talk to you about today. Because if you're reading the national headlines, you think that the homes are just selling in 1 to 2 days, multiple offers, and that's not the case in downtown San Diego. As of right now, what we know is in February, homes were selling at 97% of list price. So let's talk about that for a second. If you listed your home for $500,000 in February, your home would have sold for about $485,000. However, in March, the numbers have come in and homes are now selling at 96.3% of list price. So what does that tell us? That tells us in the course of 30 days, home values have come down approximately $4,000. So why is that? Is it an inventory issue? Well, here's what's happening. From February to March, inventory has risen. Inventory has gone up 12%. So as a seller, it's a supply and demand issue. It's great for a buyer, bad for a seller. As a buyer, you always want the inventory to increase so that way there's more opportunity, less competition. And that's what we're seeing. But here's what's really interesting that I was taking a look at, and I wanted to make sure we all had a good understanding of it. In February, homes were sitting on the market for an average of 53 days. However, in March, the average time on market was 38 days. Now that's really interesting because what I just shared with you is that in February, homes were selling at a higher price than they were in March. But in March, the homes were selling faster than February. So what that tells me is that sellers are more willing to make deals with buyers. Maybe their home's been sitting on the market for a while and they're just ready to unload it and they're ready to commit and make a great deal. So this is good news for buyers and, you know, not such bad news for sellers, but you have to price your home properly if you want to get top dollar. The buyers are in the market. They're watching what's happening. Interest rates have creeped up just a little bit, about a quarter point in the last 30 to 45 days, and there's interest rate sensitivity that you have to be aware of. So as interest rates creep up, the affordability for home buyers goes down just a little bit. So we need to be aware of that as both a seller and of course as a buyer. So that's your market recap for what's happening in downtown San Diego. It is a micro market, and even in different buildings themselves, they act as micro markets. And they're not necessarily a market in a whole, let's just say, for downtown San Diego. Every single building is kind of its own little market, has its own little niche, and you need to be aware of that. So if you need a real estate expert, private message us. We'll answer all of your questions. We can get very granular in the detail, and we can help you make informed decisions on what you're going to do with both your investments or with maybe a future purchase you're going to be making or the house you're looking to potentially sell right now in this market as we inch a little bit closer to summer. We'll see what happens, but what the market's telling me is it's just might be either taking a big breath and slowing down a little bit, or interest rates are causing a little bit of a slowdown and the prices to come down. So give us a call, private message us. We're here to help you, and we'll be back in touch, but just let us know what questions you have. And again, I'm Brian Katzen, and this is the Sunday edition of the San Diego Real Estate Report.